I've never made a YouTube video before in my entire life. So we are witnessing history. I wanted to make like a YouTube video for a while now. I never really had anything to make it about because apparently they need to be about something. I am a massive fan of the band The 1975. I didn't actually know that when I woke up today I was going to make this video, but I put on this shirt and it did imbue me with the power of critical thinking and introspection. So thank you, T-shirt. I wanted to go through their catalogue and talk about my relationship with their songs, if that makes sense. Because what the internet needs is another straight white guy giving his opinion. And you're looking at him. Alright. This video might be quite long in the raw footage anyway. I probably will edit it down. You're welcome. Just because they've got 4 albums and a couple EPs. I don't think I'll go over the EPs. Sue me, actually. So as I said, we're going to be going record by record. I'm going to give my thoughts on them. Obviously, it's going to be relatively positive because I am a fan of the band. But perhaps between records, we're going to step outside the box a little bit in terms of my relationship with the music, because I do have quite a bit to say about young people today and their music tastes, especially when it comes to this band. Alright. Give me a minute while I actually listen to the album again. Oh my god. Okay. Alright. There we go. Alright. Full disclosure, Alright. In the past, I have listened to the entire thing in full. In fact, I went to a rehearsal really, really early once on train, and it was in Bracknell and I was in Reading. And like the walk from Bracknell station to the rehearsal space I was going to was incredibly long, and I didn't drive at the time, so I had to walk the entire way. And I was walking in Doc Martens, black ripped jeans. It was very, very hot, and I think there might have been a trench coat involved. Those were dark times. On the way there, I listened to the deluxe edition of this album in its entirety. And when I got to the rehearsal space, I was obviously still quite early, I was able to listen to the remixes. So, you know, the walk was nice. When I listen to this album, I like to put myself back in, oh my god, what year did it come out? Hold on. 2013. I like to put myself back into 2013 to when like this new indie British outfit hit the scene. I like to really think about how people would have received it, because it being their only body of work and that only released LP or whatever. When I think about that, it does occur to me that it came out at the time that like black and white Tumblr aesthetic, someone with very squeaky brakes cruising past my window. We love it. Just yeah, the time that like black and white, like Arctic Monkeys AM, this album, I think Lord's Pure Heroin, there's probably a Lana Del Rey in there somewhere, inevitably. Oh, and The Neighborhood as well. Like those records coming out, and like Tumblr completely having that its entire aesthetic stapled to it, and that this being one of the records that helped contribute to that personality at the time. And that's quite hard to avoid on a re-listen, as in the putting yourself in that time period. I say that like it's 100 years ago. It was like 2. Not 2. Oh my god. 2013 was 7 years ago. I was 12. I quite like it. This isn't, oh, by the way, this isn't going to be a review of the records. I've told you, I'm a fan, right? I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, it was, I like. No. There are some songs on this record that I come back to repeatedly. Things like Menswear. Oh my god, Menswear. Give me a minute. Okay, I'm back. It's such a good song. It sent me to the astral realm. Just then, thinking about it. I exaggerate. All right. To start off, obviously, on every 1975 record, they start with a song called the 1975. Apart from on Notes, but we'll come back to that. This is like a greeting to the albums, obviously. If you're, by the way, if you're a fan of the records and I'm telling you things you already know, skip. So they start every record off with a track that is called the 1975, and the lyrics are, well, they are about a blowjob in a car. Still beautiful. I think Matty Healy himself has gone in interviews and said things like that the initial track is like a welcome back to the band's aesthetic, but it's sort of the same. It's doing the same song again with the new album's personality is a way of welcoming the listener back into the band's world. We spent a lot of time talking about this initial track when we're probably going to do it 3 more times. So let's move on. The first 1975 song I ever heard was Chocolate. Hard to believe, I know, but it landed on one of my playlists, and I have to say, I enjoyed it. But did any of you ever get this when you'd like listen to a new song by a new band that you were discovering, and you really found it hard to, when you really liked the song, you really found it hard to kind of force yourself to listen to other stuff by them because you felt safe within the song that you'd found? Does that make sense? But Chocolate was that song for me, and I latched onto it, and I really liked that I had no idea what he was saying because it sort of added to the mystery of it. The mystery being a brand new band that I was discovering, because I only really liked a bit of inside knowledge here. I was only really a fan of Ed Sheeran when I was like 14. So should we move on? I remember playing Money, or Money, for the anal among you, to my mum in the car when I was getting really into the band, and she didn't say anything the whole time, and she turned to me after the song was done, and she was like, what actually was that? And I said it was Money by the 1975. Did you like it? No, Tom, I didn't actually. That's verbatim what she said. Moving on. And then we have Sex, which is like, I remember this song being such a talking point for like sort of the playground conversations. Not that I was in a playground when I was like 14, but you know what I mean. Because like there's Chocolate, yeah, that song, yeah, same band as a song. And it says the F word in it. Anyway, Sex is a banger. Now we come to An Encounter, which is their first sort of ambient instrumental track on any of their records, and it will not be the last. Actually, it's gonna be a lot more. But The Encounter is I remember listening to the album in full for the first time, and I was like, when is the vocals coming in? And they never did. And that's a true story based on when I listened to Encounter for the first time. Don't keep that in. Fast forward a little bit through the record, we have like Heart Out, Settle Down, Robbers, which has become a fan favourite, and they have acknowledged that when they play live shows. I've seen them like live 3 times, by the way. Once on tour, and then at Reading Festival, and then on tour again. And each time they play Robbers, and each time it's gospel. Girls is all right. I skip it a lot personally because I don't know. It's just something about it. Okay, this is something that's going to come back, I think. But Girls is one of those songs where like I feel like I don't know if this is true. It's probably not. But it feels like they had finished the album more or less, and they went like, it needs a bit more flavor, you know, because they had it a little bit on Chocolate. They were like, okay, this is kind of poppy. It's kind of bubblegum esque. With Girls, they I don't know. There's something about it that just kind of doesn't feel right on this record. It feels more at home on the next one, personally. She Way Out is a personal favorite of mine. I just think it's funky. It's good to dance to. I'm literally just going through the track list, going yeah, yeah, yeah. So this might not make it in. Pressure is also very good. Okay, and then we get to the end of the record, which is there somebody who can watch you? I love this song a lot. I love this song a lot. I relate to it in a lot of ways. I think it's a beautiful way to close a record, especially a debut. I also remember listening to this song and not fully believing it was them. You know, I didn't. Again, I heard this song before I listened to the entire record, so it sort of came up on Spotify does the radio thing when you like finish a playlist, it plays songs that are like the ones in the playlist. This one came up because I think in my playlist was probably a lot of Ed Sheeran, a lot of 1975, and probably some Two Door Cinema Club. Should listen to them more often. And I remember being really quite moved by it. And I think it's probably because I was 15 and was only really just getting into music. And admittedly, is there somebody who can watch you? Is a very textbook and sort of not boring is the word, but like by the numbers piano solo piano song, an introspective piano song. But I remember being introduced to this style of song, especially in the context of an album, and being really moved by it. I think I began to understand that bands could be personal within their songs and lyrics, because I think that was quite an alien concept for me, especially coming from being such an Ed Sheeran fan, who's like I'm gonna tell you who Ed Sheeran is here. Get ready. You might not know. Someone who's a solo artist, and a lot of his songs, not recently, obviously, a lot of his songs are just him and a guitar, and it's like talking about his love life. So to have a song attached to a record which is a band, four guys, and then the last track be it might be Matty on the piano, actually. It probably says somewhere. Imagine if I could look it up. Just being one guy singing about something that seems so personal, that began so many conversations in my head about what the process was making a song like that and putting it on the record, because like you obviously you talk to the rest of the band about it, you write the song, you show it to them, you record it, you produce it, and you put it on the record. And like having something so personal being attached to a project that's collaborative really made me think about the process of making an album. That song did that for me. So to close on self-titled, this album, I think it holds up. It's very much a staple of the time it came out in, as I said, about like the sort of Tumblr aesthetic era thing. A lot of the songs, like Chocolate, have become a bit of an inside joke. Not even an inside joke. There's loads of TikToks of people making fun of the way he sings on that record, and rightfully so. What is going on there? But this album is such a I think I'd use the word harmless, because it's quite clearly a band finding its sound quite immediately and running with it the entire way, and getting quite unexpectedly experimental with some ambient instrumental tracks on there as well, with some, quite frankly, slappers. Oh, actually, I don't like that word. How about good songs? Overall, I'd give this album. No, I'm not doing that. I put on deodorant for this, like recording this. Like you were going to be able to smell me through your phone, laptop, or games console. Something I didn't mention while talking about the first record is that I found the band when they had 2 albums out, which is something quite common nowadays. But for example, again, when I discovered Ed Sheeran, he only had his first album out. So I was able to watch him release new music and have people be disappointed by how he sounded in real time, which was really cool. But yeah, when I discovered, or well, I say discovered, I was shown them by a friend. So this is all her fault. She knows who she is. I think you're quite fortunate when you get shown a new band and they have one or two or more like projects for you to choose from. You get to see how they've evolved over 2 albums, and then going forward, you get to expect a little bit more about how they evolve going forward. Does that make sense? I don't actually know if I'm saying anything correctly because I've never done this before. I really like this album. I really liked the direction they went. It felt like something that was trying to come through on their first record, but wasn't quite. It was coming, as I said, it was coming through on tracks like Girls and a little bit in Chocolate and a little bit in She Way Out. But I think they were still being held down by this emo rock punk-ish aesthetic they felt comfortable in before they called themselves the 1975, and they called themselves Drive Like I Do. If you want any more information on that, Wikipedia is great. But I remember really, really getting into Love Me as a song. Like it would literally be on repeat on my speaker in my bathroom, in my room, and in the garden. Obviously, a lot of the songs on this record are cool and new and sort of original in their own way. I know a lot of bands and people who will make a song and it sound a little bit like something off this record, and people instantly go, just like I Like It When You Sleep era off of the 1975. It's just like that. You know you've done that, and you've done it. So it's just like that. But let's talk for a minute about the song Somebody Else. I think, and this might be an unpopular opinion considering they have 2 records out since this one, I think it's their best song. I think the production is flawless. I think it's performed beautifully. I think as a song within this album's context, it's amazing. It just feels good to listen to. And then when you strip down just the lyrics, it's heartbreaking. And I'm not saying it's the best song ever, because of course it isn't. I'm getting so angry about this, sorry. I just think it's their best song. I'm not saying they peaked here. I'm not saying that. I'm not. But yeah, I love Somebody Else as a song, and I think it makes this record for me. If Somebody Else wasn't on this one, I'd probably like the first album more. It also has some of my favourite acoustic, like folk songs, period. I know this might as well be a bloody Ed Sheeran video about how many times I've mentioned him, but those 1975 and Ed Sheeran in my life at similar times, so that's sort of where my head's at. There are some Ed Sheeran songs that like broke my heart, obviously his early stuff, but I remember She Lays Down and Nana. Oh my god, those songs made me pick up a guitar. That would sound cooler if I was any good at it now, but I'm not. I'm just saying, those songs made me pick up a guitar, and then now I'm mediocre at it. I don't know how long I'm going to spend talking about this, probably not that long, just because in my mind it shares the same space as their first record, because obviously I found them both at the same time. I also think there are a lot of fan favourites in this album. I think maybe because when fans look back, this is quite a nostalgic album to listen to because it was their second record, and if you were following them since their first record, the excitement you would feel for these tracks would be way higher than the excitement you'd have for the ones on their first record. Does that make sense? Because obviously these songs were new at some point, right? Am I just explaining basic fan mentality to you? I've never made a YouTube video before, and probably will never again. But by fan favorites, I mean, you know, Paris, Change of Heart, and Loving Someone, and that's it. Also, on Loving Someone, that's the first time really they've gone politics. You know, not that equal rights for the LGBTQ community should be politics, should just be common sense. But I think when this album came out, which is 2016, it was an active conversation, as it still is, but I think there was more push for art to be about gay people and empowerment of the LGBTQ plus community. And I do remember them being praised a lot just for that one song. Obviously, since then there's been, and before then and during, obviously there's been way more like art and music and songs about that subject. But I think they were, a lot of songs in the mainstream would sort of hide that as subtext under the rest of their song. I remember this, not that this was played on the radio much, but Loving Someone was like the first song that was explicitly about it, and the lyrics would be like directly mentioning particular like direct issues. Hey, it's me, Tom. I'm editing right now. The video you just watched, but while you're watching it, it would have been done. So you're like in the future. I just gave myself a headache. It also does occur to me that I haven't recorded a conclusion to this. So I'd like to do that now, if you'll have me. What I'm trying to say is, and while the wind's really loud actually is a great time to talk about it, just keep going actually. What I'm trying to say in this video on a whole basically is that this band means a lot to me, but I do acknowledge that when you discover a band or musician especially at the age I did with this one, 13, 14, etc., 12 or whatever, these are all ages. As you grow up, if that band doesn't grow up with you in terms of subject matter, quality, and a third thing, you can often find yourself outgrowing them. And that's what I was going to touch on more when we get into like Notes on a Conditional Form and what's the other one called? Brief Inquiry into Online Relationships. Oh my, these names, man. I love them with all my heart, and I hope they keep making music, because there was a bit of a rumor about them stopping after their 4th record. I hope they do carry on. I was going to go into a bit more of a, not a rant, but like a bit more of a, I guess it's a speech. It's 2020's equivalent to a speech, a YouTube video, isn't it? About trying to branch out your taste, because I think, like me, a lot of fans of the 1975 find it hard to branch out, just because you get so comfortable within their aesthetic and their formula, which is not bad in literally any way. You find yourself getting stuck in their formula, and then when you're presented with something new or something different, it feels, you don't feel as comfortable in it, a bit like maybe a bit wishy-washy, but it is something that I've tried to overcome in terms of like consumption of art and things. So if there's a message to this one, that's it, is try and be adventurous with your taste. Listen to that album you've always wanted to listen to, watch that film, watch that series you've always meant to watch. But I realize this video is going on way too long and I'm just talking about the first 2 albums. I'm either gonna do a part 2 or I'm not. So whatever happens, I want to thank you for watching this one. This is more just practice for me recording and editing a video at all. I'd like to do more. This shouldn't be taken as like a serious attempt to produce something and put it up onto YouTube. I just wanted to practice editing, and I needed something to record, and I know a lot about the 1975, so that's where we ended up. Again, thank you for watching. Subscribe if you want to. A like as well would be appreciated. They're always nice, and they're free as well. Nothing costs you when you like a video. It's just nice. Although the same can be said for disliking a video. So I guess the ball's really in your park now. Bye.